Few things may be more upsetting than seeing your loved one become more agitated, frustrated, or upset, especially when this doesn't feel like the person you've always known. Many caregivers may find themselves wondering, did I do something wrong? Am I making them more upset? Or are they actually angry with me? Anger and agitation may be what's on the surface, but sometimes it can be a response to something else. That could be fear, confusion, frustration, or just the feeling of losing control. Hey everyone, I'm Ayesha. I'm a therapist, and today we're going to talk about why anger and agitation can happen in dementia. Before we talk about what to say, I think it's important to talk about what's happening underneath the behavior. Dementia can affect much more than just memory. It can affect their ability to communicate and understand what's happening around them, regulate emotions, recognize people, places, and even interpret another person's intentions. Imagine waking up and not being sure of where you are. Someone approaches you and tells you to take a shower, and you don't recognize the bathroom. You're not completely sure what the problem is. You're not completely sure who the person is or where your clothes are. And then they start helping you get ready for taking that shower. So from the caregiver's perspective, you're simply helping them with bathing. From that person's perspective, it may feel embarrassing, frustrating, confusing, and so then they yell and they push you away and tell you to leave them alone. So we see anger. But underneath that anger may be, I'm scared, I don't know what's happening, I don't want you touching me, or I'm uncomfortable. So that's why it's important to get curious about the behavior than to focus on stopping it. You can try asking yourself, what might they be experiencing right now? And that can help change how you approach the person. We might assume that the behavior could be the dementia, but look at what's happening around it. You can ask yourself, could they be hungry? Could they be thirsty? Could they need to use the bathroom? Could they be tired? Or is the room crowded? Sometimes agitation is communicating a need that the person can no longer put into words. And this is where tracking the patterns can be really helpful. For example, if bathing leads to frustration in the morning, you can ask yourself, what's happening during that routine? So you might think mornings might not be a good time, the water could be uncomfortable, the bathroom cold. Sometimes the behavior could give you information. Now, if you notice sudden, new, worse than usual behavioral changes, it can be really helpful to contact your healthcare professional. Now, this can change depending on where your loved one is in their dementia journey. But sometimes when someone is angry, it's just a natural response to want to reason with them. We want to explain, correct, and help them understand that we're trying to help. But when someone is overwhelmed, sometimes that reasoning is not always helpful. So here are a few phrases that maybe we can rephrase. So what do you say when someone is becoming upset? There isn't one magical phrase that's going to work every time because different people respond differently. But here are a few responses that you can experiment with. This is something I really want caregivers to hear. Sometimes talking more can make things worse. When we're nervous, we tend to explain and explain and explain. But someone who might be overwhelmed already may have a difficult time processing that information. Sometimes the best thing that we can do is use fewer words. Lower your voice and slow down your movements. Physical space and reduce the noise. So for example, if you're trying to get them changed and this situation is escalating, you can try asking yourself, does this have to happen right this second? But there's also another person in these interactions that we don't talk enough about, and that's the caregiver. You may know that your loved one isn't intentionally repeating themselves, and you may still feel frustrated after hearing the same thing over and over. You may know that dementia is affecting their behavior, and it can still really hurt when they say something cruel to you. Understanding the reason behind the behavior doesn't remove your emotional response to it. If you notice yourself becoming increasingly frustrated and the person is safe, give yourself permission to create a little space for you. You don't have to handle every interaction perfectly. It isn't about perfection, but about reducing escalation and keeping everyone safe. The goal isn't to win the argument, but to figure out, what does this person need in order to feel safe right now? And if you're a caregiver navigating these moments over and over again, remember the emotional experience matters too. If you'd like more therapist-informed support around dementia caregiving, caregiver burnout, and grief, then subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video.